Evening after we were last with you, plenty's gone on in the Championship. Southampton have become the runaway leaders. Middlesbrough lost their unbeaten start. We've got Nottingham Forest's new boss grabbing a maiden victory and Bristol City appointing a new manager. Well, today's games threw up their fair share of talking points. And you know what? It's always nice to have a current footballer in the studio. So we're delighted to be joined this evening by Steve Claridge of Gosport Borough Football Club. I've never seen him happier. We'll have more on Steve's umpteenth comeback a little later. Here's what's coming up from the N-Power Football League. With Southampton stretching their legs at the top of the Championship, the question was who'll be keeping up with the Saints. The latest team to try and stop them marching away was Reading. Forest have a new man at the helm, with Steve Cottrell attempting to get them upwardly mobile. They face the team that started the day in 8th, Ian Holloway's Blackpool. It's tight at the top of League One. Megson's Owls and Clark's Terriers are chasing Chris Powell's Charlton, with the Addicts still the team to catch.
And two very different clubs with very similar ambitions. AFC Wimbledon and Crawley Town have got to know each other pretty well in the conference over the past few years. Today, they were going head-to-head at the top of League Two.
Well, we kick off with tonight's late game in the Championship involving the leaders Southampton, who are up against Reading. The Saints secured a crucial victory over West Ham in midweek to lay down a real marker. It also put them 5 points clear at the top of the Championship going into the weekend. Well, Reading made one change from the team that drew with Derby in midweek, with skipper Joby McAnuff past fit and replacing Jimmy Kebe, who dropped to the bench. And there was one change too for Southampton, with Jack Cork returning to the starting 11 in place of Morgan Schneiderlin. Commentary comes from Dan O'Hagan.
Here's Chapler. And Connolly's cross. Chapler arriving here for Southampton. And the first smothering save is Adam Federucci's. Chaplow wide for Connolly in the centre. Lambert was waiting, but went to Chaplow instead. Oh, a hand there by Font, was that? Jose Font there with the arm when there was no real need for it. Not sure why he had to do that. That's really Jose Font's second yellow card of the season. Just reached up and touched the ball away with his hand, which is a yellow card and a free kick to Reading in a good position. It's Joseph Mills comes off that Southampton wall and behind for a corner. I guess the question there too to ask is he the last offender, but the yellow card deemed enough. Two managers who are certainly keen note takers early on. Lafondra splits the play now, and this is McAnuff. This is still McAnuff for Reading. It's going to come across, and it's cleared away by Danny Fox. That was the first real scare there for Southampton. Down that left-hand side, Lafondra there released him brilliantly, and there he took on and beat the defender Richardson. But when the ball comes in, Danny Fox there to mop things up for the Saints. Overt away, here's Chapler. Lafondra's touch for Simon Church. Well hit, but Church wide of the mark. Hasn't scored now for a month or so, Simon Church, but obvious signs of a lack of confidence here from 25 yards out. And a milestone, 100 games in charge for Brian McDermott. Robson Kanu for Ledgerwood, who will go for goal! Great effort from Ledgerwood, who's not scored since February, but there Kelvin Davis had to be right on his money. Half an hour gone here, and the Saints keeper with a top stop to keep out Ledgerwood's drive. That's a really good strong hand to just flick it over. That was moving too in the air. Really good adjustment there in mid-air from Kelvin Davis. In the centre, Lambert and Del Prado. Nicholson there felt he was blocked off by Robson Kanu. Referee John Moss agrees with him. There's going to be a yellow card coming here for Hal Robson Kanu as well for Reading. This brings the yellow card then for Robson Kanu, just blocking off Richardson, who tried to surge on towards the penalty box here. He's pulled back there on his midriff. What can Danny Fox produce here? In by Danny Fox. Comes out to Dean Hammond. And Fox again. Sent in by Fox. Chance Federici with his first real save of the match. That's a good one too. Whipped in by Danny Fox. Onside here, Aaron Martin. He's never scored a senior goal. Federici equal to it. The signs of life at last from Nigel Adkins, Southampton in this match. Chaplow for Southampton. Chaplow! Federici's block and Mills with a clearance. Bright play from the player who's just come on stage, the Ridder. And Chaplow here with space. The angle was closing on him, but Federici there made sure he got his body, the bulk of it, behind the strike as per the goalkeeping manual. Good counter by Southampton, but good save by Federici. This is Ledgerwood though for Reading. Given goal with Lafondra. This is Ledgerwood still. Looks to get it on wide to Robson Kiner, but there's going to be a free kick here. Hammond had the challenge on Ledgerwood here. It's McAnuff's free kick. It clavers the post. Here's Ledgerwood back in, and Ledgerwood scores. Well, Ledgerwood scores the goal. The free kick here comes back off the post with real venom, and the angle here's against him, but he finds the bottom corner brilliantly. It's a right royal wake-up call for Southampton. A goal from McKennie Ledgerwood is the difference here in Berkshire. Danny Fox. Now Lambert. Gulli del Prado. Chaplow has made the surge to the centre. McAnuff goes in, and that's a late challenge. Well, Hammond's going to see a second yellow card here and a red card. And Dean Hammond, Southampton's captain, is sent off. A man down, a goal down. It gets worse for the Saints. Hammond, whose foul gave away the free kick from which Reading took the lead, has now sent McAnuff tumbling. And now a real test of Nigel Adkins' managerial mettle. 10 players against Reading, who lead by 1-0. And by Richardson here towards Gulli del Prado. It's helped on here to De Ridder. It's still De Ridder! And the 10 men have perhaps saved it. It's his second league goal in English football. It's a huge lifeline thrown here to Southampton. De Ridder against the bar, into the net, and the Saints are back at 1-1. They've not made too many chances. The one they have made here has been taken by De Ridder clinically and emphatically.
You saw two honest sides out there with quality. You know, we've had the league leaders come to town today, and you know, I thought we were the better side. So disappointed.
We just wasn't there today, but probably credit to Reading. Poor play from us, but it just shows you need character. It's not just about passing the football, about you need character, and we've gone down to 10 men. We're 1 goal behind, and we've showed the resilience to go and get something out of the game.
Yeah, the two managers there reflecting on a decent game of football, it has to be said. It exploded to life in the last 20 minutes, this one, didn't it?
It did. I mean, it wasn't a bad game of football, there's no doubt about that. And you know, when Reading took the lead, it was a deserved lead, because for the majority of that game, they were the better side. But as you say, all of a sudden, it just kicked the tempo up, and yeah, we had a proper game on our hands.
You can tell Reading have definitely come into some form. I mean, coming away from that performance, they'll be a little disappointed that they only took a point against the league leaders.
I certainly think out of the two managers, Nigel Adkins will be the happier, there's no doubt about that. Especially after you go a goal down and obviously have a man sent off. But no, they scored Reading, and probably that was their reward, really, for some good play. And as I said, the majority of the game, they were the better side. But you know, this is I think, to be fair, you write Southampton off at your peril, because you know, there's a little bit about them now. There's a way of a knack of getting something out of games, maybe when they're not quite at their best.
Yeah, resilience we heard there from Nigel Adkins in the interview. Down to 10 men. This is a neat little finish from Steve De Ridder.
It's an excellent finish. He came on for David Connolly, played just in behind Lambert. That's De Prado there, obviously, a little touch there. And he looked very, very lively right from the very start. And he's one of those players that can seems to be able to pick up the pace of the game almost immediately. And he likes that little free roll. And as you can say, when he gets on the ball. He's very, very positive, and he's difficult to play against.
I know Reading will be disappointed defending that, particularly from a throw-in. Yeah. Interesting point you made when we were looking back at that. You said that point is almost as good as the 3 points they took against West Ham in midweek.
I think so. I mean, against West Ham, they were certainly they were more in control of that game probably than they were today. But this is what you get at the top of the table. You can't win every game. And that point, they might get promoted and look back and say that's a massively important point. You find a way in games of getting something out of them that maybe might have got away from you. And that's exactly what they've done. So I think as a manager, that probably tells you more about the team and the personnel than the 1-0 win over West Ham in the week.
Very encouraging signs for Nigel Adkins. Well, let's find out how the other leading lights in the N-Power Championship fared on Saturday. With second-place West Ham not playing until Monday, we start with the game at the Riverside, which saw 3rd v 4th as Middlesbrough took on Derby.
This is Mason Bennett. At 15 years and 95 days old, he was denied a record-breaking Derby debut in midweek because he had to go to school the next day. No such problems for the trip to the Riverside because it's half-term. The last time the Rams tasted victory on Teesside, Bennett was 3, and accordingly they fell behind here on the stroke of half-time, Rhys Williams deflecting Justin Hoyt's shot. At the other end, Derby created chances of their own. A combination of Jason Steele and the post, denying Theo Robinson. After a flying start to the season, Borough's Marvin Emnes has been misfiring of late, but 7 minutes after the restart, he rediscovered his touch to make it 2-0. But Derby were giving the home defence plenty to think about. Bennett inches away from marking his debut with a dream goal after Christopher Maguire's shot. The Rams continued to bombard the Borough goal. Substitute Jamie Ward rattling the bar with this effort. It just wasn't to be Derby's day. Ward's deflected cross again finding the woodwork here. And it gave Tony Mowbray a win on his 50th match in charge.
A crucial 3 points, keeps us ticking along. If we'd have lost today, with a tough game away at Southampton next week, people would have started asking questions of the character of the squad, I think.
For such a young team, I think, to come back and play with such attacking intent as we did once we went 2-0 down, we're very pleased.
Both Ipswich Town and Crystal Palace shared identical league records going into this one. Paul Jewell and Dougie Freedman have both seen their respective sides complete an impressive run of recent form. The Tractor Boys are unbeaten in 6, the Eagles haven't lost in 4. It was the home side who seemed likely to pick up their 5th win on the trot at Portman Road. Carlos Edwards couldn't have teed it up any better for Lee Bowyer, who headed wide. Palace goalkeeper Julian Speroni's excellent form has been one prominent factor in Palace's march up the table. Here he brilliantly denied J. Emmanuel Thomas. Ipswich lost defensive linchpin Damien Delaney to injury just after the restart and soon found themselves under some Palace pressure. Glenn Murray unable to make the best of the chance when it fell his way. 10 minutes into the second half came the game's only goal. Sean Scannell was given a second chance to whip in a dangerous ball. It was converted by the unlikely figure of Paddy McCarthy, only his second league goal in 3 seasons. Ipswich's response was to bring on both Michael Chopra and Jason Scotland, but it was Palace who looked likelier to double their lead. Homekeeper David Stockdale did well to stop Scannell, adding to his earlier assist. Ipswich's misery was completed in the final minutes. Defender Aaron Cresswell received a second yellow card for complaining about an unpunished David Wright challenge. Palace move up to the giddy heights of 3rd and have already surpassed their total of away points for the whole of last season.
Peterborough fans were out in force for the clash with Leeds. Their late winner in a 4-3 victory over Cardiff in midweek had given the London Road faithful belief they could maintain a posh push for the playoffs. But it was the Leeds fans who were celebrating early on here. Andy Keogh finishing beautifully after some slick build-up play. Peterborough were chasing a 5th win in 7 league games, and 23 minutes in they were level. Grant McCann picking out Gabriel Zakuani, who could hardly miss. As a breathless first half drew to a close, a moment of controversy when Lee Tomlin made that challenge on Keogh. Referee Keith Stroud brought out a red card and Peterborough were down to 10 men. Soon after the break, Leeds made that count. Lloyd Sam teeing up Adam Clayton to put Leeds 2-1 up. Well, matches involving Posh haven't been short of goals this season, and this one was no different. 2 minutes remaining, and Peterborough snatched a dramatic equaliser. Mark Little appearing to have saved the day for the hosts. But there were 2 more twists to come. As full-time approached, Darren O'Dea made this challenge on David Ball. Just a yellow card, said referee Stroud. So the game went into injury time. And O'Dea, who else, rubbed salt into Peterborough's wounds. His last gasp volley, stealing a controversial win for the visitors. Leeds move up to 5th.
A win for Leicester against struggling Millwall would have seen the Foxes claim their first back-to-back wins of the season and break into the top 6 for the first time under Sven-Goran Eriksson. Millwall began this one with the league's worst away record, but were handed the chance to land the first blow courtesy of a penalty. Suleimani Bamba was adjudged to have fouled Brian Howard. And despite Kasper Schmeichel's best efforts, Darius Henderson made no mistake. An alarming run of 10 games without a win had seen Millwall slump into the bottom 3, but on the stroke of half-time they found a crucial second goal. Jay Simpson with a superbly weighted ball. Henderson again applied the finish. Leicester were much improved after the break and very nearly halved the deficit straight away. Lee Peltier the unlucky man here. But Henderson soon sealed Millwall's first away win of the season with his 3rd goal of the afternoon. It was enough to lift the Lions out of the drop zone.
Yeah, Leicester's inconsistency has got me tearing my hair out, but a fabulous result nonetheless for Millwall and for Crystal Palace, so a great day for both South London clubs in the Championship.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 2 really tough places to go,
yeah,
you've got to say, and 2 outstanding results. And
for Crystal Palace to get an away win, something they were struggling to do last season.
Absolutely. I think they did it once in 23 games. They've done it 4 times already so far, so it gives you some idea of the turnaround.
And when a centre-half scores like that, you know things are working for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Stayed up for a free kick, and that is a really, really good finish with his weaker foot. So he's going to make the most of that.
Yeah, well done to Darius Henderson at Millwall, of course. He's managed to do in half an hour what Millwall did in the last 9 games in all competitions, and that score 3 times. They sorely missed him when he was out for a month.
They have, there's no doubt about that. I mean, probably left themselves a little bit short with the 2 lads going, Harrison and Morrison. Sort of Morrison was a little bit late sort of late in the day. But he's been missed, absolutely. He's been out for a month, and that's coincided with lack of goals and a poor run. They're too good to be down there. We know that they can play at this level. They've got a good manager, and they'll turn that around very, very quickly. And all of a sudden they'll become a difficult side to play against.
Sure, we saw Middlesbrough back to winning ways. Leeds got a fantastic result against Peterborough, but Darren Ferguson fuming that Darren O'Dea shouldn't have been on the field of play to score the winner. Should he have been sent off here?
Well, I can see what Darren means. I mean, it's a last-ditch tackle. It's not a malicious tackle, but he does take the player out, and is there a covering player? I mean, it's the
Where's
first
he going
touch.
with the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first touch, exactly. Where's that touch going? And because it's not the centre of the pitch, will the covering player be able to cut the angle down and take the short route and maybe get in front of the players, the Peterborough players being brought down? I don't know. I can see both sides of the coin. You'd probably be a tad harsh if he had gone.
OK. Now then, just over a week ago, Steve Cottrell left Portsmouth to take over as the manager of Nottingham Forest. And he made quite an impact in his first game in charge after Forest ended Middlesbrough's unbeaten league start in midweek to move them out of the relegation zone. Well, on Saturday, Forest were looking for back-to-back wins for the first time this season when they took on Blackpool, who started the day in 8th. Commentary at Bloomfield Road comes from Jonathan Ledger.
Blackpool may have the edge over Forest in recent years, notably in their dramatic victory in the Championship playoffs 18 months ago, but they could find themselves pushed to the limit to maintain their rise up the division. Ian Holloway has rewarded Tuesday night's match winner Thomas Ince with a start. In fact, all 3 of Tuesday's substitutes start. Callum McManaman and Kevin Phillips are all recalled. Ormrod, Bogdanovic and Southern are the men to make way. Forest have made one enforced change. Defender Clint Hill has been recalled by Queen's Park Rangers from his loan. So the team which beat Middlesbrough, inflicted their first defeat of the campaign, means that Chris Gunter will move to left back and Jonathan Greening is recalled to do a job as a holding midfielder. Here comes Ince again, good run, good space here for McManaman. Craney overlapping, good find. Craney tries it in. Oh, missed kick by Ince. Lovely move there by Blackpool, best of the match so far. Two young players have made such an impact on Tuesday, almost doing it again on a Saturday. Shelby drives it in, there's Phillips close by, almost put through his own net. Blackpool have stepped up, but Forest still intact. Well cut out by McManaman. Slips at the vital moment, but Craney might be able to pick it up. But Chambers now sets Miller away down the right-hand side, needs more support. Baptiste goes to cover, and yet again is a very impressive roadblock. Chambers with the cross. Tudgard got away from his marker and just over. Tipped over there by Gilks. Forrest coming back. And what was happening to the Blackpool defence? McGugan with the corner. Good jump there, and it's in! Forest have scored, and Wes Morgan has broken the deadlock. Blackpool's defence was caught, and Morgan met it. Such a strong presence, and it was a powerful header too. Gilks saw it late, couldn't keep it out. And Steve Cottrell has that lucky charm. Miller down. Forest play on. Referee continues. Miller still down. Steve Cottrell not happy. Blackpool play on. Here's Phillips. Taylor Fletcher's free. Phillips tries and scores! There's the response. Cottrell's absolutely furious, but Phillips will not be denied. Miller still down, but Phillips very much on his feet and scoring again. Goal number 6 of the season. And 3 minutes after going behind, Blackpool are level. Majewski, good ball to Tudgard, but there was no one there, but cleared by Cathcart. Had more time than he realised, but safety was the first option and possibly the better one. First corner of the second half, taken by McGugan. Good job by Chambers! He got away from everybody. Chambers just came charging through, no one near him, and thankfully his header was nowhere near the goal. Shelby with Ince in space to run at the defence. Cuts it back. Oh, just across the face of the goal! Phillips was there. Now, did he knock that back into play when it seemed easy to score? Or was he scored? Either way, Ince now has got the crowd on their feet. Ince again, goes through. He's running round them. Ince, oh, hit the post. Fantastic run. He's come alive. And so's the game, and so have Blackpool. He absolutely bewildered his markers. Ball went across, and it was Phillips could have scored. Ince again, running at Gunter, gave up in the end, past another man and beaten Camp, but against the post. He has given Blackpool hope. Father has to be impressed. Goes to Majewski, drives it through and scores! Out of nothing! Forest had the advantage. Blackpool hit the post, but Forest had the goal. He was unmarked. First time, through the goalkeeper, into the net. And for the second time in the game, Nottingham Forest have the lead. Here's Baptiste accelerating, Ince waiting for it. He'll be closed down. Moussi there, seemed to shoulder charge. And he's been booked already. and that was a deliberate piece of obstruction. He's going for his pocket. It's a yellow and a red, and he's off. And he can have no complaints for that. Deliberate obstruction. And Nottingham Forest haven't taken the lead, and now down to 10 men. Steve Cottrell hadn't known he was booked. That's the problem. Moussi was sent off because of gesticulating to the crowd. You can see that he jumped over the fence, went almost into the crowd. Steward's unhappy, referee certainly unhappy, and that's why he was booked. And here's the second challenge, and that was quite cynical. Previously it was joyous, that was cynical, and the referee really, having booked him once, had no alternative. Good jump by Everett, could go into the far post, great save by Camp. Judged it perfectly, Everett, but equally matched by the goalkeeper. Sutherland now, racing down that flank. Here comes Everett, just past the post. It'll be a corner, desperate defending. Cottrell can't believe this. This surely has to be one of the last kicks of the game. It's a corner for Blackpool. The crowd are on their feet. Bruner drives it in. Punch clear by Camp. Still not clear. Phillips. It's all over. Two West Country boys, but two very different reactions, two very different feelings, because Nottingham Forest, managed by Steve Cottrell in his second game in charge, have taken the spoils.
2 games, 2 wins, it's easy, isn't it, being a manager?
No, not at all. It's easy now you stood here and it's all over, but no, it's not been easy. It's a difficult place to come. As I've said before, Ian Holloway's done a fantastic job with Blackpool. They're a very good team, full of good, honest lads, and it's a difficult place to come and get results. So we're very pleased, but certainly humble in our victory today.
That's the way football goes sometimes. I thought we did everything but get in front. Looked like we were going to have to come from behind. We had that the other evening. And the majority of it, I thought we were slightly the better team, but unfortunately football's about putting the ball in the net, and we got done on 2 set pieces.
I've come in and I've just been myself, you know. I'm quite bubbly and optimistic and like to get a bit of spirit going, but no more than that really. Maybe changed a couple of things on organisation, a few set plays maybe that we've worked on, but they seem pretty happy and they're a good bunch.
Well, Steve Cottrell is having to win over the doubters at Nottingham Forest, but 2 wins out of 2, Steve. He's on the way, isn't he?
Very much so. Yeah, turned it around almost immediately. I think we all knew that they were too good to be down there. They've got some good players. They've got a good squad. This is a team that, you know, were knocking on the door of the Premiership last year. So he's gone in there. And sometimes, you know, managers go to clubs and instantly they're a
You think there's a bit of a nice fit here, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he was at Notts County and he, you know, obviously likes the city of Nottingham.
Yeah, because I was going to say that. He won his first 4 games at Notts County. I mean, they're unbeaten in 14, I think, to begin with. So, you know, there's clearly something there. Do you think he can do that much with Forest?
Well, I mean, they've given themselves a lot to do, and but it is a league that, even at this stage, they're only 7 points off the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't sound a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of teams between them and 6th place, but yeah, I mean, there's no reason why they can't have continue to have a decent run.
Interesting, you talk about Notts County. One player who was there was Paul Ince's son, Thomas Ince, and we saw glimpses of him in a Blackpool shirt this time. Yeah. Glimpses of a real prospect, exciting talent in the Football League.
Very much so. I mean, I watched Thomas when he was in the youth team at Liverpool, and they had a good run in the FA Youth Cup, and I think he's an excellent player. He's got some good attributes. He's obviously inherited his father's will to win. Yeah. And he's got a little bit of ability as well when you see clips like that.
As for Blackpool, I mean, a setback here, but so far they've made a steady job of the start of this season, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, it is a league that gives everyone an opportunity. You know, we've seen already there are teams up there that have had bad runs already this season, yet have got themselves in a challenging position. Ipswich springs to mind. They had a terrible start, and all of a sudden they won today. They'd have been top 6. So yes, I mean, it allows you a bit of latitude, this division. There's no doubt about that. You don't have to win every game to be up there.
No. Well, as for the rest of the Championship, these are good times to be a Hull City fan. Unbeaten in 7 in the league. The Tigers have conceded just 3 goals in that period. Well, the latest team to try to storm the fortress, that is the KC Stadium, was Watford.
Hull have managed maximum points from their last 3 games at home and faced a Watford side struggling for points and goals. The Hornets were yet to register either in all of October so far. Hull, like Watford, had actually only found the net 9 times in the league before this one. They did have the ball in the net early on, only for Corey Evans' effort to be ruled out after Aaron McLean fouled Watford goalkeeper Scott Loach. And soon after, the visitors also thought they'd broken their duck. John Eustace tapped in from close range, but it was rightly chalked off for offside. 9 minutes before the break, Sean Dyche's side finally managed an actual goal, even if the ball did need a final touch from Hull defender James Chester. Troy Deeney with the unconvincing attempt to claim it as his own. The lowest scorers in the top half of the table finally broke into double figures for the season 6 minutes after the restart. Tom Kearney's cross somehow found Matty Fryatt 1-1. And just before the hour mark, Watford's October drought was firmly consigned to history. There was a superb run and cross by Mark Yates and a first Hornets goal for Chris Uwalumo. But Hull have become a resilient outfit under Nigel Pearson and continue to test Watford's shaky back four. Liam Rossini was given a second chance to find Aaron McLean, who scored his first league goal at the KC Stadium since joining the club in January. And on a day when statistics took a battering, the final minute provided the most telling of all. Robert Corrin striking from distance 4 minutes into added time to seal a 4th straight home win for Hull and a 4th successive defeat for the Hornets.
Mid-table Barnsley arrived at Cardiff with the home side's strong start to the season faltering. With just 1 league win from 6, the visit of Keith Hill's Yorkshire side, a chance for the Bluebirds to get their season going again. And the early outlook was good. 10 minutes gone and they were ahead. Kenny Miller's 4th league goal of the season, ensuring the hosts got off to the perfect start. Despite their shaky form, Cardiff have been impressive at home of late and doubled their advantage after 34 minutes. Substitute Joe Mason with the simplest of tap-ins from Peter Whittingham's free kick. Despite an away record of just 1 league win this season, Barnsley pulled one back just 2 minutes later. Daniel Drinkwater's free kick reducing the deficit thanks to a healthy deflection. This was an amazing match with goals galore. It was end-to-end stuff, and 2 minutes later Cardiff made it 3-1. Whittingham picking out Aaron Gunnarsson, and the Icelandic international flicked it with his left and volleyed with his right. Told you it was amazing. After the break, Barnsley could have pulled one back. Drinkwater rattling the woodwork. Now, Cardiff had also scored 3 during the week, but they still lost at Peterborough. So just to be sure, they went one better here. Don Cowie keeping his cool to round Luke Steele and make it 4. Surely that would be enough this time. But still they pressed forward, and soon it was 5-1. Gunnarsson on hand again for his 3rd goal in 2 league games. But still the scoring wasn't over. Barnsley threatening a late comeback. Jim McNulty heading home Jacob Butterfield's corner 8 minutes from time. 5-2 now if you're lost. And then it was 5-3 4 minutes later. Portuguese striker Ricardo Vaz Tê's second in as many games, ensuring an uncomfortable few minutes for the Cardiff defence and a busy one for our graphics department.
Four points from 2 games this week had relieved the pressure on Coventry boss Andy Thorne ahead of Burnley's visit. By contrast, Claret's boss Eddie Howard seen his side go 3 games without either a point or a goal. Andrew Omagu very nearly ended the drought early on, but couldn't quite divert Ross Wallace's corner on target. Coventry front pairing Lucas Jutkiewicz and Cody MacDonald then combined, but the latter saw his shot kept out by Lee Grant. Goalless at the break, Junior Stanislas was gifted the freedom to roam forward by the Coventry defence. He gratefully accepted their generosity, but goalkeeper Joe Murphy wasn't quite so accommodating. The first goal finally arrived just before the hour mark. Chris Hussey's cross just evaded Jutkiewicz, but did find strike partner MacDonald. He stooped to head his first goal for the Sky Blues since his summer move from Gillingham. At the other end, Stanislas continued to cause problems, but his delightful cross didn't get the finish it deserved from substitute Charlie Austin. But it didn't take too long before Austin made amends. It was his clever dummy that set up Ross Wallace, and Burnley were level. Coventry were forced to play the last 10 minutes a man down thanks to Gael Bigirimana's two-footed lunge on Kieran Trippier. Not a great way for the Coventry youngster to celebrate his 18th birthday. And that shocking challenge was soon followed by some woeful defending. In the 4th minute of 6 added on by referee Graham Scott, Charlie Austin pounced. 7 league goals for him now so far to seal a dramatic win for Burnley.
Pompey striker Dave Kitson says they're more united as a team since the recent departure of manager Steve Cotterill. Pompey were looking for their second home win in a week, with second from bottom Doncaster Rovers, the visitors. 3 minutes in, Pompey goalkeeper Stephen Henderson punted long, and Luke Varney's nudge was enough for his 4th league goal of the season. Pompey threatened a second, but after Eric Husselklepp had caused panic in the visitors' defence, Kitson could only direct the ball wide. Doncaster midfielder Simon Gillett used to play for Southampton, so you can imagine how a goal from him would go down at Fratton Park. Not too well, 1-1 after 27 minutes. In the second half, Portsmouth went back in front with Kitson's unity claim coming to the fore when David Norris guided a header past Neil Sullivan, but was seemingly denied his second goal in a week by teammate Kitson, who got the final touch. And 15 minutes from time, Luke Varney got his second of the match to make it 2 wins out of 3 for Pompey's caretaker manager Guy Whittingham. So, does he want the job?
No, I'll say that again. Very happy to be leading the team at the moment with Stuart, and we want to do that as long as the club want us to do it, and as long as that gives them time to find the right person, we're very happy carrying on.
We'll talk about Portsmouth in a second, but what a game at the KC Stadium. I mean, to come back twice and score a goal with virtually the last kick of the game, there's real belief about this Hull side, isn't it?
Well, that's why they're 8 unbeaten.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, this game went completely against the grain of probably every other game they've played so far this season, because they've been tight at the back but haven't scored too many goals, averaging just over a goal a game and conceding just under a goal a game. So, you know, 3-2, any more like this and they'll be changing their psychology. Great finish, good run, great finish. Possibly might have tackle might have come in there at some stage or another, but that's a great finish from Robert Corrin, and as you say, that's why they've gone 8 unbeaten, because they just keep going and going.
It's been a while though since they've scored 3 goals. I think April was the last time they've done it, so Nigel Pearson will be
built his
delighted
sides on a strong defensive foundation.
And he would do, being a centre-half himself.
Absolutely. It doesn't always go that way.
No. No, not that all your teams have scored plenty of goals, I suppose. That goes without saying. 2 wins out of 3 nonetheless for Portsmouth under Guy Whittingham and Stuart Gray. Interesting comments this week from Dave Kitson, saying that the team and the squad are more together since Steve Cotterill's left. I mean, what did you make of that?
Well, I mean, you've got the flip side of the coin, really, haven't you? I mean, Steve Cotterill's gone to Nottingham Forest and got as many points as Steve McLaren had all season. Yeah. Stuart Gray and Guy Whittingham have got as many points as Steve Cotterill had, you know, in 3 games all season. So it's horses for courses. I mean, that's his opinion. He's quite an opinionated lad. Yeah. I wouldn't want to read any more into that because I don't know the ins and outs of what he means. You know, I'm not going to read between the lines, but obviously, you know, results have picked up of late.
Interesting to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's name linked with that job. We'll see what happens in the coming days, shall we? To League One then, where Charlton Athletic began the day top of the pile by just a point, with the Invincibles of Huddersfield just behind them. And having taken just 1 point from their last 2 games, Chris Powell's men were looking to take maximum points against visitors Carlisle.
7 days after losing their unbeaten record, Charlton produced precisely the right reaction against Carlisle. After Jan Kermigant's early goal, the Addicts blew Carlisle away to suggest that last week's defeat to Stevenage was a mere blip on an otherwise upward trajectory. Bradley Wright-Phillips made the most of John Tavernier's error to make it 2. And more laboured defending followed from the Cumbrians. Royce Wiggins got round the back, and after Wright-Phillips was twice denied, Kermigant helped himself to a 4th of the season. Carlisle have been resilient on the road this season, suffering only 1 away defeat prior to the trip to the Valley. But once Matty Robson's second yellow card concluded a miserable first half, it was always going to be a case of how many for Charlton. In the end, it was only 4, but this one was the worst of the lot from Carlisle's point of view. Adam Collin letting Danny Holland's effort slip through his legs. There were no such worries for Charlton keeper Ben Hamer. After Michael Morrison handled in the box, Charlton was still able to preserve the clean sheet. Hamer kept out James Berrett's penalty to put the seal on the Addicts' perfect day.
Before this game, town manager Lee Clark said that striker Jordan Rhodes had enjoyed an astonishing week after his hat-trick against Exeter 7 days ago, and today started brightly too, when he was gifted the opener after just 4 minutes, following a mistake by Preston keeper Ian Turner. While Turner was left to dwell on his error, his opposite number was about to excel himself. Ian Hume's shot deflected off Peter Clark and was on its way in, yet 40-year-old Ian Bennett showed superb agility to maintain his side's advantage. At just 21 years old, Rhodes is forging a real name for himself with his goal-scoring exploits, and he made it 2-0 when he rose between two defenders 3 minutes before half-time. And there was an air of inevitability that the hat-trick would arrive, and it duly came 3 minutes before the hour, Rhodes proving just how high his confidence is right now as he converted Scott Arfield's low cross. There was still time for the visitors to pull one back through Juvel Sumo on 61 minutes, but the damage had been done. Rhodes' second hat-trick in as many games, earning high praise from the boss.
I've played with Phillips, I've played with Shearer, I've played with Owen, I've played with Saha just before he got that huge move to Man United, and they were fantastic goal scorers. One or two of them really were the best in the business, and they didn't have a goal ratio like that. I can't remember they did, anyway, and I've never known it actually in professional football to have a ratio like that. So we just we hope it continues. He's got to be sky high in his confidence. We know he's a modest lad, so he won't go overboard, but he's a lad who deserves all the plaudits.
Sheffield Wednesday are enjoying their best start to a season at Hillsborough in over half a century, and they're in no mood to give that up. Gary Medine hitting the bar. Double disappointment for him after having a goal disallowed in the first half. Medine is League One's leading scorer, but was denied his 12th of the campaign by Colchester keeper Ben Williams, although Al's skipper Rob Jones was on hand to make the most of the rebound. And with Wednesday on their way to a 7th successive home league win, goal machine Medine was involved again. This time Raider Johnson picked up the pieces to confirm 3 more points for Gary Mason's side, who remain third. High fast descended upon Meadow Lane as Uwe Rosler's touchline antics set the tone for a bizarre encounter. Unhappy with the free-kick decision, Rosler repeatedly attempted to obstruct County's Alan Sheehan as he tried to deliver it. That was enough to incur the wrath of Martin Allen. The spat concluded with Rosler receiving his marching orders from referee Mark Haywood. It was student night at Meadow Lane. A cheap match ticket for local scholars also came with a free drink and a pass to a Nottingham night spot. When Carly Osborne blundered into Alan Judge, it seemed the highest attendance of the season might be drinking to a 5th win out of 6. Jeff Hughes converted from the spot to give County a half-time lead. But if anyone was still enjoying that complimentary drink as the second half kicked off, here's what you missed. Barely 10 seconds had elapsed before B's top scorer Clayton Donaldson hammered in this stunning equaliser. A draw was the final outcome. Both sides lose ground on the promotion chasers. Sam Sodji came closest to winning it, but this missed chance is more notable for Marcus Bean at the bottom right of the picture, letting Carly Osborne know what he thought of his performance. An ill-tempered occasion, but afterwards Rosler was unrepentant about his role in the Meadow Lane madness.
I think I did everything correct. I stood in my technical area. I stood still. Obviously, probably the person who did the free kick was not very happy that I stood there, but I'd be in my technical area. In addition to that, my colleague left his technical area, came to my technical area, and I felt the referee will handle that one. I couldn't understand the fuss, and obviously then I got sent off. We will have definitely approach to the Football League, and I think justice will be done. I believe in justice, so I'm quite confident that I will be on Tuesday on the bench.
Despite sitting in a playoff spot, MK Dons only had one win to their name in their last 7 matches, but Mark Beevers came close to breaking the deadlock when his header smacked back off the bar. In the second half, Oliver Norwood's free kick evaded everyone but goalkeeper David Martin. In the end, a second consecutive goalless draw for Scunthorpe.
Sheffield United are unlikely to be handed a better chance to take 3 points on their travels this season. With time ticking down, Charlie Daniels' double-footed lunge at Lee Williamson left referee Oliver Langford no option but to show a red card. Down to 10 men, Orient were unable to contain the Blades, who sensed victory. Stephen Quinn made the most of the extra space to pick out Ched Evans. His miss-hit shot eventually found Chris Porter, and the former Derby man made no mistake. With 6 minutes to go, surely United weren't going to throw away another lead. But deep into stoppage time, the South Yorkshire side once again showed their defensive frailties. The O's attacked, and when Steve Simonson didn't get there, Kevin Lisby struck to light up the Matchroom Stadium, as Orient are now unbeaten in 4.
With both sides on losing runs, something had to give between Chesterfield and Hartlepool. It was the Spireites who first seized the initiative. Leon Clark's 7th goal in 8 games had them ahead. With Tommy Lee breaking down in the warm-up, Greg Fleming kept goal for Chesterfield. His weak punch led to Hartlepool's equaliser, Paul Murray with the finish. 2 minutes later, Hartlepool were ahead. James Poole seizing upon a poor clearance before steering this beauty just inside the far post. Poole signed permanently from Manchester City in order to give himself some game time. Their embarrassment of riches may also have helped Hartlepool. This header was Poole's 4th of the season and provoked some impromptu pole dancing from Gary Little. Hartlepool end their run of 4 straight defeats. Chesterfield, though, cannot stop the rot. Dean Holden's consolation goal couldn't prevent their 5th failure in a row.
After a goalless first 45 minutes, it took something special to separate these two sides, and it was provided by Robbie Weir with half an hour remaining. The midfielder's shot was too good for Sadler's keeper Jimmy Walker. A few moments later, Andy Butler headed over the bar as the visitors went in search of an equaliser. But 10 minutes after that, Butler was on target as the captain headed home Jamie Patterson's cross. Now, this time last season, Mustafa Teriyaki was playing for Havant Waterlooville in the Conference South. And having arrived at Prenton Park in the summer, he scored his first goal in professional football with 10 minutes to go, when he showed great improvisation to convert Zumana Bakayogo's pullback. Full marks for the finish, although the dance routine needs some work. In the 90th minute, the visitors were denied what would have been a superb equaliser. Richard Tawndry's free kick a couple of inches too high. Back-to-back home wins for Rovers, just 1 win in 9 now for Walsall.
Oldham made easy work of Wickham at Boundary Park. All the scoring came in the second half. Chris Taylor making the most of Danny Foster's slip. And from his cross, James Wizolowski steered the ball into the corner. The home side were in no mood to relent. Robbie Simpson thought he'd double the lead, and he would have had it not been for some superb defending from Dave Winfield. The points were sealed 9 minutes from time, a set piece from the training ground. Latics midfielder Dean Furman slipped under the radar, and he finished beautifully to return Paul Dickoff's side to winning ways.
With the Lamex Stadium displaying a brand new scoreboard, Murphy's Law dictated that this would be a goalless draw. That and a controversial decision by referee Ian Williamson. Mark Roberts had the ball in the nets, but instead a penalty and a red card was awarded for Luke Ayling's handball. John Mousinho stepped up, but his spot kick was saved by Marek Steck, a second miss from the spot in 3 games for Mousinho.
There have been few home comforts for Bournemouth in recent weeks. Lee Bradbury's side were without a win in front of their own fans since August, but they took the lead 4 minutes before half-time when top scorer Mark Pugh was on hand to hit home his 7th goal of the season. A few minutes later, Pugh should have become provider. His cross found Wes Thomas, whose search for a home goal goes on, although he's unlikely to come across an easier opportunity. That miss was then punished almost immediately. From the resulting goal kick, Berry went up the other end and equalised. Giles Coke lashing past Darryl Flahaven to give the travelling fans something to cheer about. And they were well and truly off their feet 8 minutes into the second half. The turnaround was completed when Andy Bishop's header gave the Shakers the lead. The Cherries pushed for an equaliser as the second half went on. Thomas again failing to convert a close-range header as the visitors held on for their first away win since August. It's now just 4 home points this season for Bradbury's men.
Rochdale started well at St James's Park. Jean-Louis Akpro hit the bar, and Neil Trotman denied brilliantly by Artur Krishak. Dale signed Liverpool youngster Nathan Eccleston on a month's loan this week, and he made an instant impact. Ashley Grimes crossing for Eccleston's debut goal. This week, a group of Gresham fans set up a siege mentality Facebook page to show their support for Paul Tisdale. And with their backs against the wall, they fought their way back. Daniel Nardiello levelling on the stroke of half-time. That was the boost the home side needed. When Marcus Holness fouled Jake Taylor after the break, the power shift was complete. Nardiello converted from the spot, punishing the visitors for their earlier missed opportunities. The points were made safe 9 minutes from time thanks to some more sloppy play. Holness gave the ball away to Liam Sercombe. He laid in Jake Taylor to seal 3 points and lift Exeter off the bottom of the table at the expense of West Country rivals Yeovil.
Yeah, that result will do Exeter's confidence the world of good. We have to talk about a boy who's in some serious form, Jordan Rhodes, Steve. I've just told you, 13 goals in 5 games for club and country. I mean, you're still trying to digest that, aren't you?
Sunday League football, isn't it? That's incredible. It's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, although he might be he's a young lad, he's got the physical stature and the look of someone a lot older, as you can see. And he's got him amongst them there, and that's a good finish.
What will reassure Huddersfield fans is Dean Hoyle in midweek, the chairman, has said that we don't have to sell our star players come January, although some of the big eagles or vultures are circling above, and that will reassure the fans, won't it, at least?
Of course. I mean, they're flying now. They're going very, very well. They sold Pilkington in the summer for 1.75 million, and they are a club that, if anything, go the other way and do spend money. So there's absolutely no reason why they should let anybody go in the form they're in. This time it looks as if they might be their year.
There are interesting build-up, can we say, to the game involving Notts County and Brentford. Between what Martin Allen had to say about the budget of Brentford, it was refuted at the time. But what about this, with Uwe Rosler getting in the way of a Notts County free kick?
This is classic comic strip, isn't it? This is absolutely fantastic. I mean,
he
I don't know whether
his ground here.
You look at the play and you think, can the player get any closer? But he can't, can he? I mean, if he gets any closer, he's not going to have the ovation to get the ball where he wants it.
Martin's had enough at this point.
I'm surprised that it took Martin that long actually to get it on the picture, but as you can see, he's not holding back. And Uwe Rosler, I mean, he's just playing the straight man brilliantly, isn't he? Fantastic. But all good fun.
And the funny thing is, Uwe Rosler afterwards said Martin Allen left his technical area, so he should be reprimanded.
He's actually not done anything wrong, has he?
He's brilliant.
But it wasn't, shall we say, it wasn't quite in the spirit of the game.
One team we haven't really featured that much. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday played quite a few games, apart from Saturdays, but 7 consecutive home wins, the best home league start for 50 years. And I think you said to me in the past as well that big following at Hillsborough can put more pressure and not necessarily be a good thing. But these players, credit to them, are turning it on in front of them.
I don't think the only way it brings pressure is if you don't respond to, if you don't go out and give everything. I think it's a double-edged sword. It brings pressure if you're not getting results, and then people become introverted. But they are getting results, and that big crowd, they're a very knowledgeable crowd, they're fantastically passionate up there, and that gets behind you, and all of a sudden there's 23,000 people there, and that is a massive bonus for anybody, and that is what makes football. You want to go and play your football in front of people like that. Absolutely, that's what it's all about.
Well done too to Tranmere, whose flying start to the season goes on. Now then, last season, AFC Wimbledon versus Crawley Town was a conference game played out between 2 teams desperate to reach the Football League. Well, they've both arrived, and in some style. Crawley were top of League 2 going into the weekend, with Wimbledon in 6th. Clem's been to League 2's game of the day to see 2 very different teams who've come a long way together.
There's always a degree of trepidation for clubs who come out of the conference and into the Football League, but AFC Wimbledon and Crawley have continued right where they left off last season. There's a real symmetry to the achievements of these 2 clubs. In the blue corner, AFC Wimbledon, who a decade ago didn't even exist, but whose 5 promotions in 9 seasons have brought their famous name back into the Football League. And in the red corner, Crawley Town, who've overcome all manner of off-the-field problems in the past few years to become one of English football's most upwardly mobile clubs.
At the end of today, whether we've won or lost, and hopefully, obviously, I hope we win, I'll be pretty upset if we've lost, but in the end, it's 9 years since we didn't have a club, and that's the most important thing. Look around, as you said, all the people here, the times that people are having, and we can just celebrate the fact that we have a club.
Is the reality of being back in the league as good as the dream?
Without doubt.
Oh, God, yeah.
Without doubt.
Totally. I mean, it's only a dream that's just started, though.
Some of the fans here have put so much effort in. It's been brilliant, and we've enjoyed every minute. We've enjoyed seeing all the new clubs again and all that. So it's been excellent.
Oh, join me, brother! Join me, brother!
Our fans are very good, so they're realistic to be enjoying this year. And this was always going to be a real fun year, providing we weren't, skirting with danger. And hopefully we can avoid the teams below us. We've tended to lose to teams below us as well, and there don't seem to be a massive difference.
Now, I don't want to be churlish because nobody's under any obligation to answer my daft questions, but this was the point when we were supposed to be talking to Crawley's chief executive and manager. Unfortunately, late yesterday afternoon, the board intervened and have put a stop to it. They think we want to concentrate on the club's fairly recent administration, points deductions and the newfound financial prosperity. We don't. Just the fact that Steve Evans' team are absolutely flying again. Is there a culture of paranoia around your club? This board will not talk to us.
Yeah, because there is, because everything Crawley do good, everyone picks on them, because of the history of Crawley have had, a lot of we're just sick of bad press and not good press.
Whenever another team scores a goal against us, it's like as they've won the FA Cup.
We've got most of our players from the Blue Square Premiership, the first, and mostly the second division. So it's okay having money, but we haven't gone to the Premiership and nicked rising football stars who are going to play in top European games.
They've got the wrong end of the stick, all these people that think we're money bags. We're no different than any other team, really, I think.
Just 31 miles separates these two. Lest we forget, it was Crawley who romped to the conference title by a ginormous 15 points last season. Yay! And Wimbledon, who had to gain promotion via the playoffs. Yay! This rivalry with Crawley, what's it all about? It seems a little stretched at the moment, the relationship.
Well, to be honest,
there's a little smile on your face.
Steve and I have known each other for yonks. He's as good as gold off the pitch, and on the pitch he's hard work. I'm no different to every other manager. We want to win the games against our local opponents. They're our local derby now.
A game that promised much and delivered the goods too, rather like Andy Drury, whose corner after 3 minutes was sliced into his own net by Chris Bush. With just 9 minutes on the clock, it was a case of deja vu. Again, it was a Drury corner causing problems. This time Claude Davis powerfully headed home his first for the club. Now, if you want the definition of mixed emotions, it was provided by Davis, who just seconds later went straight up the other end and put into his own net after good work from Max Porter. Suddenly, the Dons were right back in it. As the first half continued to ebb and flow, the visitors probably thought they'd done enough to lead at the break. But Jack Midson had other ideas as his shot levelled the scores a minute before half-time. Crawley manager Steve Evans watched from the stands in the second half after claiming he was sent off for threatening to substitute Sergio Torres before he was sent off. But referee Andy Madley no doubt redeemed himself in the eyes of Evans when awarding his side a penalty for handball by Callum McNaughton. Matt Tubbs confidently stepped up to score his 9th of the season. 5 minutes later, the visitors were able to re-establish their 2-goal cushion. It wasn't the most orthodox of goals, as a combination of hesitant defending and the luck of the bounce allowed Danny Bullman to head home. Terry Brown said his side put in a shocking defensive display and the Red Devils were showing no mercy. They made it 5 with 4 minutes remaining. Before today, 32-year-old Bullman had never scored a brace. He has now. Plenty of questions for Wimbledon, plenty to celebrate for Crawley.
Go and show your camera to Terry.
One of those days when you have to accept they're a little bit further down the line than you?
Yeah, second half we never come out really. The goals were hideous, absolutely hideous. 3 corners, 3 goals. We've conceded 8 goals in the last 2 games at home, and we struggled. The boys showed character first half, bouncing back. Can't keep bouncing back from diabolical defending, and that's what we had today.
Well, unfortunately, Steve Evans didn't want to speak to us after the game, but you'd think, Steve, after the terrific start that Crawley have made, that they'd be shouting about it from the rooftops.
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of the Huddersfield-Brentford game when a lot of people tipped Brentford to beat Huddersfield, and in their unbeaten run, and Huddersfield went and won 4-0. This is a real marker. Everybody else in the division will be taking a sharp intake of breath when they see that, because that is some result.
Because FC Wimbledon are no shrinking violets,
No,
aren't they?
absolutely. Tough. They've had a good season so far.
Yeah, well, let's get more from League Two then. We begin our roundup with the team in second, Southend. Paul Sturrock's side are unbeaten in 6 league games, going into their home meeting with Torquay.
Southend's Kane Ferdinand brought a drab game to life after a goalless first half. With manager Paul Sturrock's half-time team talk still ringing in their ears, Ferdinand set the Shrimpers on their way. 7 minutes later, the striker was at it again. Neil Harris with a quality delivery, and the 19-year-old volleyed in his 3rd of the campaign. 2-0 up and cruising towards an 8th game undefeated. In fact, Southend were to press home their dominance in a 4-goal, 24-minute spell. Michael Timlin, the architect for the club's leading scorer, Liam Dickinson. And they still weren't finished. Mark Phillips rose highest to meet Ryan Hall's corner. 4-0 and game over. Torquay showed brief signs of life in the closing stages. Lee Mansell's strike was deflected by Mark Ellis, who knew little about it. Despite the emphatic nature of the win, Sturrock says there's still plenty of room for improvement.
The disappointment for me is we should be starting games like we started the second half. You know, we don't seem to get to the right tempo. Something I'm going to have to look into, because it could cost us too.
Not even 2 red cards could prevent Gillingham ending Oxford's unbeaten run. The U's were undefeated in 8 matches upon arrival at the Priestfield Stadium, but fell behind on the stroke of half-time to a spectacular strike from Lewis Montrose. For Oxford, this was a story of missed opportunities. There were over 40 minutes still to play when Joe Martin received a second booking for a foul on Robert Hall. But still the Gills recorded a rare clean sheet, even when the match winner Montrose saw red for a rash challenge on Asa Hall. But the 9 men hung on, ensuring that Andy Hessenthaler remained even-tempered.
I'm not going to be too harsh on the lad, because he's a fantastic player and still learning the game, and I was really pleased with him. Fantastic goal he scored. He's won the game for us.
On the balance of play, Accrington had just about edged the first half of their Friday night game at home to Cheltenham. However, they trailed at the break. Jeff Goulding had only been on the pitch a matter of seconds when he broke the deadlock a minute before the break. The striker's impact was almost immediate, and it was a lead that the visitors could have doubled in the second half, but Alan Bennett's shot was cleared off the line. In the end, 1 was enough. 5 wins in a row now for the Robins.
Despite a run of 5 defeats, Rotherham United boss Andy Scott told his players to enjoy themselves against Shrewsbury, and that advice resonated with Lewis Grabban. Spectacular stuff. The Shrews are happily ensconced in the playoff places, and they hit back before half-time. Jermaine Granderson headed back across goal for Shane Cansdell Sheriff to volley home as the two sides shared the points.
Morecambe prevailed in this clash between promotion contenders. Port Vale must be sick of the sight of Jason Price. He scored against them for Barnet in August and did the same after Stuart Tomlinson spilled Danny Carlton's shot. Defender Will Haining also intended to catch out the Vale keeper. His ambitious free kick had Tomlinson backpedalling furiously. Port Vale have broken scoring records this season. Unfortunately, they've conceded a few as well, but not too many have been as good as Luis Alessandra's quality finish. Vale haven't won in any of their games against sides in the top half of the table. That unwanted record threatens their promotion challenge. Morecambe made sure of leapfrogging their hosts in League Two after Liam Chilvers brought down Gary McDonald in the box. Lawrence Wilson scored from the spot to strengthen the Shrimpers' already impressive away record. Substitute Andrew Fleming added a 4th in the 90th minute. Morecambe's unbeaten run on the road is now up to 8 games. Jim Bentley's side are up to 4th in the table.
Bristol Rovers started brightly in their match at Burton as they went in search of back-to-back wins for the first time this season, and they took the lead after 15 minutes when Matt Harrold latched onto Craig Stanley's free kick. After defeat at home to Cheltenham in their last match, the Brewers were looking to avoid successive defeats for the first time all season, and they conjured up an equaliser when Cleveland Taylor fired home 3 minutes before the half hour. 10 minutes before half-time, Paul Pescasolido's men found themselves in front. Kevin Amankwa ran with intent and picked out Billy Key, who fired home past Scott Bevan to condemn Rovers to their third defeat in 4 matches.
Plymouth had their chances to win this one. Jamie Griffith's header bringing a terrific save out of West Foderingham. The winner had a touch of continental quality about it. In fact, Robins manager Paolo Di Canio inferred the goal wouldn't have looked out of place in the Champions League. Rafael De Vita adding the exclamation mark to a beautiful move. 1 goal enough for victory, but the defeat leaves the Pilgrims 4 points adrift at the bottom.
With 3 league wins out of 4, Macclesfield continue to climb the table. That streak has coincided with Ross Draper weighing in with some valuable goals from midfield. This was his third of the Silkmen's unbeaten 4-match run. This local derby was taking place for the second time in 3 weeks. On this occasion, Mac avenged their cup defeat. They survived a few scares though. Sean Miller was centimetres away from finding the same corner as Draper. The same post later prevented Matt Tootle from levelling the scores. Town's luck held. Back-to-back wins put them within striking distance of the playoff places.
Both sides came into this one off the back of defeats, and both are nervously looking over their shoulder at the wrong end of the table. But it was the home side who almost struck first when Michael Bryan saw his shot come back off the bar. Just before the hour mark though, it was the visitors who broke the deadlock. Michael Jacobs is only 19 years old but was named Player of the Year last season. He showed why he's rated so highly with this thunderbolt of a strike, his 4th of the season. Bradford were then given a route back into the game when referee Steve Rushton deemed that Andy Holt handled Bryan's cross. Craig Fagan stepped up to fire home his 2nd Bantams goal in 3 matches. After the game, boss Phil Parkinson said his side had worked on crossing and finishing. Well, it paid off with a little over 20 minutes remaining when Kyle Reid's ball found James Hansen, who completed the comeback and gave Bradford back-to-back home wins.
Since drawing Manchester United in the Carling Cup, Aldershot have lost 5 in a row, and with the Premier League champions arriving on Tuesday, the Shots put in a performance to remember. It took just 3 minutes for Jermaine McGlashan to open the scoring. Manager Dean Holdsworth gambled, leaving out Darren Jones, Ben Hurd and Danny Hilton so they wouldn't miss the cup game. The calculated risk seemed the sensible option when Peter Vincenti made it 2. After a lean month, certainly a moment to enjoy. Dagenham and Redbridge couldn't contain their visitors, and when Michael Rankin was felled by Mark Arbour's poor challenge, it was an easy decision for the referee to point to the spot. Rankin gratefully picked himself up to score the Shots' 3rd in confident fashion. The Daggers finally got on the board in their 100th home league game, John Nurse reacting first to score 2 minutes before the break. But there was still time for Luke Guttridge to restore the 3-goal lead before the half-time whistle. His diving header quashed any faint hopes of a Dagenham comeback. They were, however, next to score though. Damien McCrory making the most of his reprieve after the FA overturned the red card he received last week. It was definitely a day to forget for the home side, and there was still time for a 5th as McGlashan added some symmetry to proceedings, and having opened the scoring, he finished it. So it's onwards and upwards for Aldershot, and this sparkling performance will certainly give Sir Alex something to think about.
Even at this stage of the season, Hereford versus Barnet had the ring of the 6-pointer. And from the moment Harry Pell struck the bar, a decisive shift in the relegation battle looked on the cards. Nathan Elder's goal settled it. On loan from Hayes and Yedding, the striker is looking for a permanent place back in league football. Hereford's own League Two future looks rosier after this result. A rattle of the woodwork from Ricky Holmes wasn't enough to prevent the Bulls climbing out of the bottom two at the Bees' expense.
Good little run now for Hereford there, but standout performance, I've got to say, Morecambe away to Port Vale. I mean, to get turned over there 7-2 last season and to come back with your first win in 5 with this scintillating performance, I mean, well done to Jim Bentley.
Absolutely. I mean, I think there were probably people thinking the wheels would come off a little bit after their fantastic start, but no, this is a magnificent result at a tough place to go, I hasten to add, and
yeah,
that was a super finish and a really, really good result.
If ever there was the perfect preparation to play Manchester United in the Carling Cup, Aldershot came up with it, didn't they? Yeah, I mean, it hasn't gone probably according to plan since they beat Carlisle in the Rochdale in the cup. But no, this was a fantastic one. This is the sort of game that you want to play and you want to do well in, because obviously everybody wants to gain the same sort of feeling. We should say well done to Cheltenham and Macclesfield. Their results means they continue to defy the odds, as does this man next to me. 45 years old, and what is it, the 21st club that you're representing today? Gosport Borough in the FA Trophy.
It felt like it, actually.
And it was a Roy the Rover stuff, because he came up with a winning goal. I mean, what a great day for you.
Yes, well, I hasten to add, I did have a vest on under this. If I was actually commenting on this game, yeah, so I'd have said that this back could certainly lose a bit of timber, but no, I'm only £4 heavier than I was when I played.
You've still got it, look at this.
Yeah, that's a half decent finish, isn't it? So, no, it was a great fun, and it actually turned out to be the winner, which was lovely. It seemed an awful long time since I scored in the 27 minutes at the end of the game, but there we go.
And you played all but 4 minutes.
I did, yes. I enjoyed it, actually. I was pleased with the way things went.
And you still made it here tonight. Very well done.
Thank you.
Before we go, let's take a look at the league tables then. In N-Power League 2, Crawley and Southend are still the top two after great wins for them on Saturday. Look at Cheltenham, though, into the other automatic promotion spot after their 4th consecutive win. Morecambe and Gillingham both keep pace with the top 3, with Shrewsbury and Oxford making up the top 7. And it's getting pretty tight up there, with only 3 points now between 4th and 11th. Well, at the other end, Hereford move out of the bottom 2 after back-to-back wins and go above Barnet, who they beat on Saturday. There was a much-needed win for Bradford, and Plymouth are now 5 points from safety. In League 1, the top 6 remain the same. The top 3 all winning, with the 3 below them all drawing. Hartlepool and Tranmere move above Preston, who dropped down to 9th after their 4th consecutive defeat. While Exeter move off the bottom in League 1 after their win over Rochdale and just 1 point off safety. Leyton Orient move out of the relegation zone and they're now unbeaten in 5, with Bournemouth replacing them. Into the Championship then, Southampton stay top despite their draw at Reading. Middlesbrough and Palace move above West Ham. They travel to Brighton on Monday night. Leeds move into the playoff places thanks to that late win at Peterborough, although there are plenty of teams who are just 1 win away now from the top 6. Derek McInnes takes charge of his first game on Sunday as Bristol City are at home to Birmingham. The Robins will be looking to make ground on the 3 teams above them, who all lost, incidentally, on Saturday. Millwall move out of the bottom 3 after that brilliant away win at Leicester. Now, if you've missed any of tonight's goals, don't forget we're on the red button and Freeview until 6 on Sunday morning. Otherwise, it's on the iPlayer all week. But if you're after-match highlights only, well, they'll be available on the BBC Sport website. Now, it should be a cracking match of the day too on Sunday night. Join Colin at 10 on 2 for the best of 2 tasty derbies, with United v City in Manchester and QPR taking on Chelsea down in West London. And we're back with you on Wednesday with highlights from round 4 of the Carling Cup, with the competition now down to the last 16. And we'll bring you action from all 8 ties from 11:20 on BBC One. Well, that's it from us. Rest his weary limbs. I'll see you on Wednesday. Good night.